Hello and welcome back to another episode of Literary Assistance. If you did not catch our January wrap up, you can go ahead and head back there and find out what Sarah and I took on for our energy, vitality, challenge, and crazy roller coaster of a month that January was. Today, Sarah and I are here and we are going to discuss February. Sarah, what is our theme of the month?
Surprisingly, for the month of February, the theme is love.
Love. I love love.
I love love. I love everybody.
As you know from all the books that I read, I love love. I love dissecting
Romance.
love. Why do people love? I love romance, all the things. I'm super excited about this month.
Me too. Me too. February is a big love month for me because my husband's birthday is this month. My wedding anniversary is this month, and it happens to be our 10-year anniversary. And then it's followed by Valentine's Day. So the very beginning of this month is like a love bomb in my house.
I just picture rose petals all over the floor and
Well,
candlelight.
there are usually a bunch of flowers, but not necessarily on the floor in like a line to the bedroom or anything like that. But it's definitely a romance time in our house. Yeah.
It's like a set from The Bachelor. That's what
Yeah.
Sarah's
Oh,
house looks like during
that sounds
February.
about right.
Oh, geez.
So in the book, Gretchen kind of has a couple areas where she focuses on. Sorry, what are you going to be doing? What are
You could go ahead and tell us
Okay.
what Gretchen was doing for the month.
So what Gretchen Rubin does for the month of February in the book, The Happiness Project, which we're following along, is she kind of focused on a couple, like she picked several things this month. And I'm like, wow, that was ambitious. I'm not going that big. She wanted to quit nagging, which she felt like was sort of an antithesis to love, like nagging her family. She didn't want to expect praise or appreciation. She happens to know she, like me, appreciates words of
affirmation.
Yeah, words of affirmation. That's my love language. It's hers too, but she decided she was going to stop expecting that. And then she was going to fight right, which meant, using more love when she and her husband argued. No dumping, which is sort of that emotional, vomiting on friends or whatever. So from a friend perspective, she wasn't going to dump and be negative, and then give proofs of love. So she was going to, what was that one? She was going to not be negative, right?
Yeah. And she kind of wanted to like take the whole, I think it was a week challenge that she did, just like kind of yes to everything, to see how like she was showing her love by doing every task she was asked to do, which I believe in the end she decided was not a long-term solution to showing love.
Right. So we decided, so we're looking at love and we both picked some things we want to do. So what did you pick?
Yeah, so I decided that we are not intentional about date nights. Like they just kind of randomly happen if my husband and I were able to go out for lunch when our son's at school or something like that. So I wanted to try to do something that was unique, something that I'd always wanted to do, and create a date night at home COVID style. So I came up with the idea to do one of those like painting with a twist kind of date night things. And I asked my husband if he was on board, if we bought a painting kit and kind of took the night and had some fun and just kind of like were slow and intentional, but did something creative together. And he was on board. So I'm not going to overset I mean, keep my expectations realistic. So one for the month, I think one date night thing is realistic. And then the other thing that I wanted to do is 28, 29, however many days there is going to be in February this year, days of compliments. So I want to compliment people on social media and make it intentional where it's not just like great picture, pretty feed, something like that. Like compliment them about something to do with their person, their personality, and show them some love, and just let them know that I appreciate who they are. So.
Oh, I love that. And who they are and what they're putting out in the world. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then you and I have one in common. So I'll let you go ahead and share our common challenge that we were going to do for a week long.
Yeah, I'm a big random acts of kindness fan. I've been doing things like that with my son for a long time. And Random Acts of Kindness Week is February 13th through the 20th this year. So we are going to be intentional that week. There's that word again. Be intentional that week about going out and making someone's day. So whether that's baking cookies for a neighbor, or one time, I'll tell you a few of the things we've done because they've been super cute.
Yeah.
One time we walked around our town where we used to live that had meters, and we fed people's meters all around this town. And then one time we went and bought a bunch of lollipops and put a note on them that said, this is a random act of kindness, because we called him a ractivist, a random act of kindness activist. And so he would put these lollipops under people's windshield wipers. And then one of our favorites was we went to a dollar store and we left money in like toy aisle, like $1 here, $5 there. And the kids it was so cute because we hung out and waited till kids found it. It was so sweet. So we'll probably do some things like that, but I want him to pick a few of the ideas. And then, so that's the thing we have in common. You're also going to do that, right?
Yes.
And then my other one, just because February is such a love month in this house, with the pandemic, we're not really going out a lot. So I don't want to say that I want to plan a date, because even though it's our 10th anniversary, I don't even think we're going to go to dinner. Like, I don't even know what we're going to do for that. But what I do know is that my husband's love language is touch, and mine is words of affirmation. And I have a really hard time, like, intentionally giving him the touching that he wishes he could have. And so I'm going to make an effort to speak his love language, which is hard for me, and, give him the attention that he deserves. So he's very demonstrative with me and very, very loving, and I appreciate it, but I don't need that much touching. So I'm going to try really hard to be more touchy and lovey. And then my other one was, I'm blanking. What else? Oh, self-love. I wanted to do meditation, and specifically meditate. I'll probably focus on metta meditation, which is loving kindness meditation. I do love that because you send love out to the world, to other people who need it, and to yourself. And I specifically like when I do a pose that puts my feet up on the wall, because it's supposed to be really, really good for your body and for circulation and whatnot. So I'm going to not make a requirement that I do it every day, but whenever I meditate, I'm going to meditate with my feet up the wall, and I'm going to do metta meditation, which is loving kindness.
Yeah, I love that. That's so beautiful. You and I have opposite relationships because I am the hugger, and everyone in the rest of the boys in the house are like, please stop hugging us. I'm like, I just want to show you that I love you. Let me hug you some more.
So is that your love language? Is touch your love language?
Yes, and words of affirmation are like a really close second for me. But yes, I would say like hugging, touching. Yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah, that's sweet. I mean, I'm a hugger too, but there's a lot of touch in this house. So sometimes I'm just like, I have work to do. But no, I mean, I'm a hugger too. I do love, particularly with friends and whatnot. But this is, I think that's been one of the things that has been challenging about this time, is that you don't really feel like you can hug people a lot or be that close. So I do think I'm missing that for the other people in my life too. I just feel like they're sometimes, it could be balanced out when I had love and touch at home, but also I felt like I was loved and connected and touching friends and family and whatnot. And I don't feel that very much. I haven't seen a whole lot of people. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely missing that.
Yeah, it's great to have connections on the screen and be able to talk to people, but there's definitely the part of the physical connection that's lacking for all of us right now.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I have 3 cats. They get lots of hugs.
That's the thing. We don't have a pet either. And here's something that might be interesting. I don't want to throw too much into this month for me, but we have been toying with the idea of doing a pet adoption for just the weekend. Like, one of our associations offers you can take a dog out of the shelter for the weekend, because it gives the dog socialization, improves their chances of getting adopted. A lot of times the people who take them for the weekend end up adopting them. We cannot, because our family's highly allergic, but we could probably tolerate a weekend, and I would feel like that would bring so much to our family. So I hesitate to put that on the list, but it's a good possibility.
Yeah, maybe you could even start small and start with like going. I know a few of my friends volunteer and walk the dogs. So you could show an act of loving kindness to an animal too. That's a great point. Like, it doesn't have to be humans. We can show kindness to the universe, to Mother Nature, to animals.
maybe we'll put that as part of our random acts of kindness week thing, where maybe we just sort of randomly show up at the, well, I guess you have to register at these sites, but anyway,
Yeah.
I agree. You've given me a really good idea, which is maybe, is there something I could do that's a random act of kindness that week that has something to do with animals?
I love that idea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds me, our poor guinea pig that passed away. We have to take all of his stuff to the shelter though, because I asked Dylan what would be a good way to show, like, carry on legacy of love for his guinea pig. So we're going to donate it so that some other ones can, if anybody gets turned over to the shelter, they'll have more supplies for
Oh,
them
that's a
to
great
use for the
idea.
guinea
So he
pig.
doesn't want to get another guinea pig?
No, he didn't ask to get. Well, we have 3 cats and 2 birds still, so we have plenty in the house. And I guess it's kind of that like sad mom realization moment too, because I was like, if we had another guinea pig, he'll be in college by the time
Yeah.
like the guinea pig that just passed away is that
Yeah.
age. So as you realize your kid's getting older and life shifts a little bit, so
Yeah.
start thinking like
Oh, I
long
had that
term.
realization the other day about the kitchen. I was like, do I want to renovate our kitchen? I mean, how long is he? I mean, I don't even know if we're going to stay in this house. And like, he's going to be off in college in 6 years. And I thought, 6 years, like, I don't know if that's worth it. And I'm like, 6 years is a long time, actually. But I don't know. If something about it was like, that didn't seem like very long. And I started to be like, 6 years is all I have.
Yeah, I
If even
know.
that, really, it's more like 5. But anyway, I digress.
All the more reason for more hugs.
Yes, of course. Yes,
Hug them
absolutely.
while you can. So yeah, maybe we'll explore, let's see what other sort of random opportunities we can find for acts of kindness that are not related to other people, but related
in fact,
to
if the listeners want to give us some ideas, either on Instagram or in the comments on this post or whatever, if you've got ideas for the Random Acts of Kindness week, we'd love to hear them. And then can we talk a little bit about, I don't know if you plan this far ahead, but do you have other books in the month of February you're going to be reading that have anything to do with love?
Actually, before I jump into books, it made me think a good random act of kindness tied to books would be go through your bookshelf, see if there's anything that you're not going to read again that you want to get rid of, and find a local free little library and do an act of kindness and share them with some other people so that they could read them.
That is a great idea. Also, P.S. I have 2 within, like, I can literally see one right now out my window.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
You're so
my
lucky.
neighbor. I know my neighbor made, and it's phenomenal. It looks just like their house. It's adorable. And it is really cute, but it's kind of, we're in a cul-de-sac, so it doesn't get visited all that often. So there's lots of books in there. So I wish more people came by and took advantage of it. But we have several throughout our development. So maybe I'll walk to a different one and drop some things in there.
Maybe that would be part of the act. Maybe you could shuffle some books around so that people catch them at other ones. If anyone's not familiar with free little libraries, you can go online. They have I believe they have a website or a Facebook page or something that'll let you know. It's basically like a little teeny tiny box that people make different versions of it, and people put their books that they don't want anymore. And it's like a take a book, leave a book, or just take a book if that's all you can do, and share the wealth of reading with other people. So great place to have a random act of kindness by leaving a book.
Absolutely. I love that. I'm doing that.
Books that I'm going to be reading for this month. I would like to do a refresher on the 5 love languages. It's been quite a while since I read that. Oh, I know. That reminds me. I've never read the child version, and there's like a teenager version and a child version. So I thought I might kind of check that out too. Of 5 language love. I would assume they're very similar, but it would be interesting to see how to speak the love languages to your child also. I feel like even if you're not in a relationship, it's really interesting to know what your love language is, because it relates to your friends and your family, and so much of it that connects to your day-to-day life, even in a job, like your feedback that you get from people and how you're performing, like it's all interconnected.
Oh yeah, it ties into motivation. It ties into what creates a why for people. Like, why do they do the things that they do? What are they seeking? What are they needing? What are they looking for? What are they hoping to give? And I think that's really great. I love that idea.
Yeah. And I'll also be reading a billion other historical romance books for
Right, of
the
course.
month of February,
Of
because
course. I
it's
have
me.
the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo that I have not read yet, which I know
Ooh,
I'm late to the game on that. I know.
yeah.
So maybe I'll read that next month. But I also picked up Amortoli's new one, The Lincoln Highway, and
Oh.
I can't wait to get into that. But I might, maybe I'll put that off till March. I don't know. We'll see.
Now, are you a mood reader, or do you, like, if you buy a book, you read a book? How do you go about your reading?
Good question. I tend to be a mood reader, so I was on a really big kick of like to the point where my son was like, "Let me guess, you're reading about World War II, historical fiction about World War II that happens in England," and I was like, "Bingo! How'd you guess?" So I was on a big kick for that. So I tend to read a genre for a while and then change. So or an author for a while. Like I get into. I tend to be like, I'll read everything by an author and then move on to another
Really?
author. Yeah. What about
Oh,
you?
wow.
You
That's
will always
very
have one that
interesting.
you're all, yeah, your historical romance is just always going to be there for you, right?
Yes, I don't tend to watch any TV,
Me neither.
so, like, people binge Netflix, I binge historical romance. It is my happy place. It's just so relaxing to me, and there's a lot of fascinating articles about how with historical romance, any genre, but with historical romance, it's very prominent. Like, there's certain tropes that are very strong, and most people have their tropes that they love, and your brain finds so much comfort in knowing what's going to happen without knowing how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
So to me, it's very relaxing, and I find historical romance fascinating from the perspective of um, different people's journey to fall in love, and like their personality that goes behind it, and how did the characters fit together. Um, and yeah, it's my relaxation in life.
I love that. I just, again, another thing you and I connect on. It's so funny because for me, reading is a happy place to go. It's not an anxious place. I don't want it to be an anxious place. And
Yeah.
and although I don't watch TV either, if I'm asked to watch a movie with the family or even like a series or something, if there's anything remotely angsty about it, I'm out. Like I
Yeah.
mean, I watched half, not even, maybe 10 minutes of Breaking Bad. That, you remember that Netflix
Oh,
series? I was like, I'm out.
yeah.
I'm out. I mean, just I'm not, that's just not my jam. I'm not one of those millions apparently women who watch like murder stuff.
Oh, no,
No, I'm
no,
not a
no.
true crime podcaster. Like I want, and I don't know if this is a trauma response, right? We should talk about this, but like, why do we want something that's so completely benign and but so comforting, that is that you can, again, it's not super predictable, but you at least know there isn't going to be some cliffhanger drama. Like I know
Yeah.
it's just not my jam.
Although I will admit, so my husband was watching the show You. I don't know if you've seen
No.
anything about that. It was a book series. This guy is like serial dater, and then he is also ends up killing the people that he's with, but it's always like some sort of, he's not a sociopath. There's a reason behind it, and it's very like, I love that show because it's almost, he loves them so much that there's a reason why I can't go on. And I think that is like a super interesting perspective. And one of the reasons that I love romance is like love can take on so many different angles, right? Like you
Mm.
can love, and here's this character that is loving so much, so hard that he's literally killing people that he loves. And then I was talking with someone the other day about having a healthy debate over the best Austen hero. And she was advocating that it was Wentworth, from Persuasion, because he stayed true for all of these years, and um, still loved Anne, 8.5 years later, when he comes to sees her again, which I agree. I find the letter super romantic. But how romantic is it that Mr. Darcy, with no expectations of getting Elizabeth back in his life or ever going to be able to marry her, goes through this self-help to change his personality? Like, there's so much to romance. It's just so good because it's not a one level sort of, it's not surface level. There's so
Right.
many,
Oh,
you love
there's
someone,
unrequited love. There's,
right?
yeah.
There's love where you can change yourself because you feel in love with the person that you're manipulating them into equally falling in love with you. Like there's good and bad
Yeah.
mixtures of love.
Losing yourself in
Yeah.
love too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so much that you change your own personality
Mm-hmm.
to be with a
To
person.
fit.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, so many good layers to love.
Well, we're going to
Um,
explore all of them in the month of February, I guess. And we'll love for our children, love for our spouses, maybe love for pets and animals, love for books for sure, because this is literary assistance.
yes. I feel like it's cheating that I only have 1 month of love. Like
Yeah.
love just needs to continue on for the rest
Well,
of the
it'll be a
year.
common thread, but I think all of them kind of are, because it's not like we've abandoned energy either. Like we're definitely more tuned in, as we talked about last episode. We're way more tuned into our energy, not necessarily forcing it to be high all the time, but just aware of our energy swings. And I will say one good thing about, and caveat, both of us work from home. So my comments about lots of is like, we're just always together. So anyway, but no, just being aware of the swings has been one good thing about, working from home a bit, is that you kind of have a little bit more ability to notice moods changes and energy changes and motivation changes. So all of those things are normal. It's just been interesting to be more mindful of them.
Yeah, that's interesting perspective because in one sense, working from home, it feels like your environment doesn't change. But on the flip side, it also like does change so frequently. It's not the same as going into an office atmosphere where it's like the exact same routine day after day. When you work from home, like
Yeah.
it's constantly changing the way that your routine is going and what's
Yeah.
coming in and out of your life.
Yeah, we talked about that one time recently, right? We were sort of like, just when you get used to things being a certain way, something inevitably comes up that changes your schedule. And that's been
Yeah.
also interesting. I think I expected my days to be quite the same all the time, but inevitably, a schedule change happens with school, or that for me, clients, pick their times. So sometimes my nights are very busy and my days are clear. Sometimes my days are busy, but I have nights available. Sometimes weekends are more requested. So my schedule is constantly changing, which is a challenge, really, to be honest, because I don't feel often set. But
Right.
it also has made it so that I always try to figure out what's my highest priority and put that first. And that's always health, by the way. It's always my health
Yeah.
first. And then I schedule everything else accordingly after that. So yeah, it requires prioritization every single week.
It'd be interesting to see a love list. Like, what are the things you love in your life and rank them from
Yeah.
top to bottom? And then it would kind of help you figure out your priorities too,
Yeah.
of what we think is important, but what do we truly love and want to have in our life?
Or even better, what do we truly love and value? And how much are we actually doing that in our life? So if you truly love outdoors and being active, but you look at your life and the way you lead it and you go, oh, I'm not actually doing any of that. I mean, I think that's part of why people are struggling right now, because some of the things they love and that energize them, getting out, being with other people, partying, dancing, whatever it might be, movies, whatever they may love, that they're just not doing enough of because they can't, or they don't feel comfortable doing it yet, is a big reason why people are struggling a bit.
Yeah. And I think if we find what we love, then even if it doesn't seem like we can be doing it right now, you find different ways to bring it
Yes,
into your
that's
life.
exactly right.
Like I've thought about travel a lot, and most of us are not traveling, but find a book that is about the country you want to travel to, find a YouTube video and like start planning your vacation online. And you don't have to have a set date or anything, just make it the experience of planning. Create a Pinterest board with pictures of where you want to be going, like still bring those things into your life.
Yeah, because to be honest, not to get too scientific before as we wrap this episode up, but our brain doesn't really know the difference between being in an experience and seeing the experience if our body has the emotional reaction to it. So you could be sitting in your living room watching a very detailed video on a vacation in Italy. We happen to stumble across one on YouTube, and it was a wonderfully done kind of tour of Italy and what it would be like if you spent 15 days there or something. And it was like you were there, and the way it was filmed. And I thought, the brain doesn't really know the difference. If you can create the smells and the things around you, and have surround yourself with it, it's just interesting that you can kind of create some of that experience in your mind.
Yeah. And the same thing goes for reading. Your brain, that's why it's so important to keep your mind, your brain healthy, active, because reading engages all those same senses the same way. And I think I just figured out my problem for why I haven't been losing weight is because my husband has been watching Vegas buffet shows with people, like completely random. But we're going to be taking a trip, and he loves, like, we're foodies and we go for the food, and there's all these YouTube videos of people like walking you through all these buffets in Vegas and all the different foods that they have there. So he's been like binge watching. I think I'm taking on the calories watching these buffet videos.
Not quite sure that's how it works, Melissa, but I mean, I'm willing to go with it.
I'm gonna blame it on that.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea there was a way to watch like what the buffets look. Although, in fairness, when I was getting ready to go to Disney, I did watch a fair number of videos about what to expect at Disney, because it had been so long, and I was so intimidated by how kind of overwhelming Disney can be for a newbie or recent. But yeah, like there were people who walk you through like the restaurants, and here's what breakfast with Mickey's like, and yeah.
So if you want to have an experience, think of what would you love, what would you want to be doing, and find a way to bring it into your life.
Well, and like you did with the painting, I thought that was a brilliant idea. I've got to think about maybe a home date. Like, what am I going to do for my 10th anniversary? I'd love people to answer that question. Send me some ideas, because it's 10. I would love to be like doing something. Ideally, we'd go somewhere, but that's not happening. So, I mean, people can go places, and I don't want to, like, some people do, and they are traveling, but I'm not really interested in getting on a plane right now if I don't have to, right? So I'm just sort of like, okay, what could we do?
What are some of his hobbies besides working out?
I don't want to say this too loud, because I don't know, but his birthday present is a very big one. We're taking him to Charlotte, and he's going to get to drive a Ferrari, which he's always wanted to do. And he doesn't even know it yet, but I can't wait to give him that present on his birthday. And so that's kind of big, and we're doing that. So maybe I could, and I did purposely book a Saturday so that we could turn that into a weekend and maybe make a whole weekend of it. And so maybe we'll do that and just kind of turn it into an anniversary / birthday thing.
Yeah. I love the idea of, I haven't got my boys to go along with it yet, but like, since we don't go out as much, like dressing up and just having a nice dinner at home, like maybe getting takeout from a restaurant that you guys love, and
good idea.
Maybe picking out a movie or something that he enjoys and sitting on the couch, and you can be touching,
can rub his shoulders. Oh no, I'm gonna yes, that sounds good.
But since you're doing the trip aspect, maybe you could bring a little bit of home, but make it different. I think that's like we so much, like we talked about this last month, like set these huge goals. Like it can be something so simple that we just do at home, but out of your normal routine,
right,
to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, and I think actually in our next episode, it would be really great if we got into the concept of routines. Like, when are routines good and when is routine bad? And because our brain really requires change and difference, and changing a routine can be a very good thing for the brain. So maybe when we do our catch up, like our mid-month kind of check-in on February, we should talk about routines.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you're going to come along for the wild ride of love that we will be doing for February. Remember to like and subscribe and follow along Sarah and I in our Instagram to see in our stories what's happening for the month. And we will catch you all soon.
And we'd love a review if you can.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.